Welcome! Today I'm going to be unboxing the Elegoo Mercury X wash and cure machine I got from Amazon on a Black Friday clear back before December ago, and I'm just now finally opening it. This is a good several months later, so hopefully it's still in good condition. I did have a little bit of a flood between now and then that got the box a little bit wet, but other than that, it should be just fine. So let's see what we've got. It's the Elegoo Mercury XS. I couldn't remember what exactly it was, and it was covered by tape on the box. Let's just make sure that we're not missing anything. Oh, this had a little handheld UV thing. I thought that would be cool, even though I already have a big old UV flashlight that I use. Do not stare directly at the ultraviolet rays. That's what your glasses are for. Just don't look at it. They even give you some microfiber cloth for your sweet shades. Aw, yeah. Not sure if you can see that. Looks like it's just a single LED with a switch. That's nice, so it's already turned on. It just plugs into the machine for power. Plug-ins here. But it can only go one way. Some UV lights underneath. LEDs, it's got a single, so that's going to go over there. It's going to have those screws. So the power on this one's in the back. This one's also in the back, but the right is the power for the wand. Clockwise to increase time, counterclockwise to decrease time. Makes sense. It looks like there might be some shadows of some LEDs in there. It's interesting that the instructions start off with telling you to plug it in, but they haven't said anything about these not being attached. You can wash it with the build platform. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably not going to use that feature because that seems like it wastes even more resin than you normally would. Because then you got to clean, I guess it cleans the build plate every time, but it seems a little excessive. Put your model in your basket, put your basket in your bucket. It gets washed, right? Then this goes on somehow. Where is that going to run into? The bottom of this. This first layer catches it. And then you can actually set your build plate in it. The reason this is different widths is for the different build plates. Saturn, Saturn S, and the Mars use different. I think these are just held there in place and then you take these out. That actually, I think, is a screw hole. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, seems like. The one thing I'm noticing already offhand that I have a little bit of concern, but not a whole ton, because it's the bottom anyway, is that the bottom lights don't go all the way to the center for curing. So if you have a miniature and you put it right on the middle for the rotating, it's never going to have the bottom of it cured. You'd have to put it out over here. But then it goes, they don't necessarily want you to do that. I don't see a problem with it, especially if I have a bunch. I would put a bunch on here at the same time to cure. And maybe just avoid the center. But that's not what it says to do. Put the model directly in the center. Wand plugs in right there if you want it. Plug that one in there. Don't stare directly into it, but on-off switch on that works. Long press for 3 seconds to turn on and off the machine. And once you have it set, you just push it to start it. I presume to turn it back off, you press and hold. Now we gotta print something. Okay, well now I have some miniatures ready to clean. Fill up my tank with the alcohol. 473 milliliters. Should fill it up in there. Good enough to do some minis anyway. Can always add more later. Try and soak up as much of the resin off of the prints as I can before I put them in there. Make my alcohol last a little longer. But these models are all by MZ4250 with supports, some without. Want to see how well it will swish in between all that to clean it, because that's usually the hardest part. Okay, here are the models that I'm going to put in there. This is about a build plate worth, maybe a little less. I didn't use the whole build plate, but in general, this is about what I would be printing normally. I expect the force of the spinning and the sloshing to be enough that these will kind of jostle around. I don't know if that's going to break them, if it would be better to just do one at a time, but I'm going to try them all at the same time. If you had them on your build plate, you'd be doing them all at the same time. Of course, they would be secured to the plate. And this was printed using the Soraya Tex Fast Navy Gray, mixed with about 20% of the Tenacious, so that the things like the swords would be a little bit more flexible and less likely to break. The mesh of this is decent. I was worried that it would be... You can't print any like tiny things, of course, because it'll go through the mesh, but a tiny creature will fit in there. Normally when I clean mine in the ultrasonic, I only clean it for a minute. Some resins will recommend that it only be submerged for a very limited amount of time, but I'm going to do 2 minutes. That seems like a fair test for this, right? And let's see what happens. Woo! Yep, there they go. They're fighting. To be honest, I expected them to move around a lot more than that. Oh, did it switch directions? It switched directions. That's cool. Done! Looks pretty good. I mean, the model itself is already almost dry even. A decent job of cleaning though, as far as I can tell. And now I have all the supports removed, pretty much dried up, ready to cure. The resin for the navy gray does have a lot more pigment, it leaves a lot more residue, which is most evident on this toad here. If I can get it to focus on him. You can see the white. So this guy I'm actually going to wash one more time. And in case you're wondering, I do have the same issue with the residue and stuff with the ultrasonic cleaner as well. It's just that resin itself. You have to mix it more to make sure that it's mixed better when you print. A little bit more difficult to clean, but overall I like the color of it a little bit better. But it's still got quite a bit of gunk in there. I can't quite reach in there with the towel to wipe it out very well, but maybe if I use a Q-tip or something. I usually do like 10 minutes. But 3 should be good, right? That might actually be good, just like that. Where the light would be hard to get to. Seems pretty good. But just in case, if you wanted to, it does have a fancy wand. You could get those hard to reach places like up underneath. Well, it's hard to angle it on there, up underneath in the inside. Anyway, pretty good even after only 3 minutes. This is the new setup, all in one thing. This is what I used to use, or still do use. I'll end up probably doing both. Ultrasonic cleaner. And then this is my cure box. I think I have a video of when I built this, but it's just a 3D printed box with some LED strips in it. There's some clear plastic in the bottom, some acrylic, just with LEDs to get 360 view on it, and then I just rotate it every so often in there. Switch to turn it off and on. Whatever method you prefer, you don't necessarily need a cleaning and curing station. You can just swish it with a cup or a container. Just clean it by hand in there, swish it around, make sure you dry it off, and then just cure it with a UV light or stick it in a windowsill. Even if you don't have a UV light, stick it in a window and turn it every couple minutes or something, and there you go. It's up to you. It's pretty nice though. It's pretty handy. I think I'll get some good use out of this. Well, there you go. That's it for the Elegoo Mercury XS wash and cure station. It sure beats doing it by hand, although for some resins it may be better to just use a brush on it. That's up to you and your workflow and what you're wanting to do. But handy little machine. I'm actually okay with it. I don't know if I would necessarily prefer it over what I'm currently using, but it is nice if you don't want to have to print and set up your own thing. So until next time, make sure your prints are clean.